Hi, this is Kathy from Ladies Stamp A Lot. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Chesapeake, Virginia, and today I wanted to show you how to make this cute card. It uses the Thoughtful Blooms stamp set, which is a celebration stamp set, a 2020 celebration stamp set. It's available through March of 2020 with a minimum purchase of $50, and then you can get this for free. So we made this card at my stamp clubs over the weekend, and it also uses the in colors that are retiring: Call Me Clover, Berry, Blueberry Bushel, Lovely Lipstick, Pineapple Punch, and Grapefruit Grove. And these colors will be retiring at the end of May, but around this time they start to get low quantities, and Stampin' Up! Does not always guarantee that they'll be in the catalog. They're towards the end of the catalog, they're while supplies last. So I wanted to make sure that everybody knows to get those if you're interested in those colors, and then I'm just going to show you how easy it is to make this really cute card. Okay, so today I'm going to use the Grapefruit Grove paper to make it, but we're going to start with the stamping first. Now this is a piece of Whisper White, 3 3/4 inches, and this is 2 9/16. And I know that's really random. You could do 2 1/2 and it'd be a lot easier to cut, but this is going to layer onto this scalloped scallop layer, and that 9/16 just makes it have an even edge all around, and I'm kind of like particular about that being even. So again, 3 3/4 by 2 9/16, which is just 2 1/2, and then one little line more, just a little smidge more. Okay, so we're going to take this step. The green leaves are all done with one stamp, which makes it nice, and I am going to use the Call Me Clover again. This is a retiring color, and I'm going to ink up my stamp, and I'm going to stamp this towards the top of this white paper and straight down. Leave it on for a little while to let the ink release off of the stamp. And that looks great. Let me just clean that off. I'm using the chamois to clean my stamps, and what I like about this, I cut mine in half, and I actually go in here and scrub to get into all the nooks and crannies, because I don't like my stamps to be stained if I can help it. Okay, so that's the green. Now we're going to use the Grapefruit Grove to add the tiny little flower. And on this one, I put the tiny flower at the very end of this block so that I don't get it all inked up. And what I'll do is just take this right at the end of the ink pad, and then everywhere there's like a stem, I'm just going to stamp this flower. So I'm going to go, oops, I'm going to go around and do that quickly. There's 4 different places where there's just like a straight stem that's missing a flower, and that's where I'm going to add this little flower. Okay, let me clean that off quick. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do is stamp something down here at the bottom, and this stamp set has the words "thank you." And when I did these cards, a lot of times I'd like to do everything the same color, so I would stamp the words in the same color, but I thought that this color was a little bit light, so I'm actually going to pick up the green, and I'm going to stamp it down here in the corner. Thank you. And then all of these in colors also have coordinating ribbon. So the ribbon is 1/8 inch grosgrain ribbon, and it comes in the same colors as the ink. I am just going to wrap this around the white piece, keeping that flat on the back. And I like to keep it attached to the roll so that it doesn't waste as much. So this is how I do my ribbon. I just tie it around. I make it like a cross, straight up and down. This comes down like a loop, and then the bottom one comes, can you see that? That bottom one comes and goes through the loop. Then I have this little tag here that I just pull, and it gets me a pretty nice flat bow. And it's actually kind of nice and tight. I don't have to do any other adhesive to get it to stay nice. If you want, you can stick a little glue dot up underneath there. Sometimes I also will tape it in the back, but I don't think I need to on this one. I'm just going to leave it like that. Now what I did was I cut a large rectangle stitched dot using these dies here. This is called the Stitch So Sweetly die. I used the largest rectangle with the Grapefruit Grove cardstock. And what I'm going to do is use liquid glue to put this down, because there's a very little border, and you want to get this right in the right place. So this gives you some wiggle room to slide it around. So put some glue on the back, and then you'll see when you lay this down, this is going to go right close to that stitching. And so I have time to straighten it out, move it side to side or up and down to get that nice even border. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's why I cut it 9/16 so that it's equal all around, and then that liquid glue gives you a chance to get it right in place. Okay, I'm just going to set that aside for a minute. The next thing I want to do is do the little flowers here, and I'm going to show you how I did that. So I just took a little strip of paper, and there's 2 flower stamps in the set. One has lines, and then one is like a fill. So I like to take the one with the lines first and stamp that across this strip. And I like to make sure that I have the 2 petals facing down. It makes it easier to punch it out with the punch. The punch I'm going to use is also a Sale-a-bration item. You can get it for free with a $100 purchase, or it's going to be in the next catalog, which comes out in June. So you'll be able to buy it in June if you like it. All right, so those are the striped ones. I'm going to use the same color of ink, the Calypso Coral, and I'm going to bring in a scrap piece because I'm going to stamp off. So I'm going to ink up my stamp, and then I'm going to come over here and stamp once on the scrap, and then I'm going to line it up and stamp right on top of the one I stamped previously. It fills it in, and it fills it in with a lighter shade. Oops, I did that one twice, but that's okay. And if it doesn't get perfect, it's fine. I'm not going to take the time to do all that because I don't want to make this video any longer than it's already going to be. But the only other thing is when you punch these, you turn your punch upside down so you can slide it in. And this is why I said we're to have the 2 at the bottom so that you can easily punch. If I was going to hold it this way, it doesn't go in as nicely. I have to turn it a little bit. But that's how you can see to punch it out, by turning your punch upside down. Again, this is a free item with a $100 purchase during Sale-a-bration, or it'll be in the next catalog. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and use the ones that I have already previously punched out to finish my card. But before I do that, that's going to be my last step. I'm going to take a regular white card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then I cut a piece of patterned paper. This is the same Grapefruit Grove. This is actually a retired pattern. The one that's in the current catalog is a little different, but that will also be retiring when the catalog retires. So if you like these colors, again, you want to get all this stuff before they start to sell out, and they start to sell out early. So I'm just going to cut this at 4 by 5 1/4, just so it leaves a little white border in the back there. And then I'm going to bring in my stamped piece. And this is where I said I'm going to use, you know what? I'm going to use dimensionals this part. That's right. This part I already used liquid. I'm going to use dimensionals. So another little tip is I like to use the I call them the leftovers when you're all done with your dimensional sheet. These on the outside. Don't throw them out. I cut them up and I use them on my cards. And I'm going to put these in the corners like this. And then I'll just take some of this and put it in the middle. Sometimes I do a lot more dimensionals than this, but the last time I did it, it took a long time in the video, so I'm just going to do this. But I do like to have something in the center here so the card doesn't go down flat. So there's the dimensionals. Make sure the card is opening the right way. I made that mistake yesterday. All right, and then you're just going to lay this down, center it. When you have the designer series paper, you can sometimes use a pattern to help you get it straight. All right, and now I'm going to add in these flowers that we punched. And I'm going to do that, 2 of them with glue dots. So I'm just going to put the flower onto the glue dot. I'm going to put it around there. Another one. And then the last one I'm going to put up on a dimensional. Let me grab one here. Of course, I only have the ends, which I can use. Let me grab an end here. And then I pop that one up here, just to give it a little bit of an extra dimension. And then as a finishing touch, I took my pearls and I took the tiniest one and just put them in the center to give a little extra. So that's it. Really simple. This is a really pretty card. And you can do any kind of little greeting down here that you want from another stamp set. One of my favorites is the Itty Bitty Greetings. It actually comes in 2 cases. And there's 32 different sayings you can use on there. Now, since you stuck around, let me show you some of the other cards that I made. This is the exact same one, only on this one I used the, what are they called? They are called Happiness Blooms enamel dots. Okay, they're actually Calypso Coral, but they really match, so that doesn't make a difference that it's Calypso Coral. This is the same one, and I used the same pack of Happiness Blooms that are in the current annual catalog, and I just put the green centers there. There's a happy birthday from the Itty Bitty Greetings. I ran out of paper. I didn't have enough green paper, the clover paper, so I only had a half a sheet, but I think that looks really nice. And if you don't want to use the whole sheet, you can use half a sheet, make 2. And this I just folded down the edge. So this is the back of this paper. I just scored about a 1/4 inch and folded it down. And this one I thought was cute for St. Patrick's Day. Have a lucky day. That's in the itty bitty greetings, and I made it all green. I wasn't too sure about making a green one. Then I thought, oh, St. Patrick's Day. Here's a yellow one, and I used the green centers. Another pineapple punch one. This actually is the Night of Navy dots from that packet, but I think it kind of looks like black, sort of like Black-Eyed Susan maybe. I don't know my flowers that well. Here's a red one, and then I took some, I used the pearls in the center, but then I used some of those enamel dots to make extras here. And that's another greeting from that itty bitty good friend. Hey friend, and sending prayers. That's another one from the greeting. Okay, so those are all made the same way, just different colors. And again, these are the retiring in colors. So if you like them and want to get them, make sure you grab them up soon. And then here's a couple more cards we made at my club using the same stamp set and punch. That was one version, or here's another version where I just did it the other way and stamped the flowers instead of just punching them. And then one more completely different is this one. I might make a video for this because this uses the Stamparatus and this stamp right here. It's like a border stamp. So there you go. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope you'll give these cards a try.